If he says he accepts full responsibility, what does that mean? He deserves a bullet in the head, like Hitler did in 1945. He has no right to even talk to Nigerians at all. He has no right to show his face. He's supposed to be hiding in shame until he dies, to be honest.
So guys, the Ohanaeze and Igbo have come out to say that the government, that the Igbos needs an apology and 10 trillion naira from the government for saying that the coup that happened was the Igbos. Because this alone have brought so many things in our country, Nigeria. Like our country, Nigeria, hate the Igbo because of what they've heard. And all those things we realize. And then I said that they must pay a ransom of 10 trillion naira and apology from federal government. And let me like guys to hear what Very Dark Man said about these same issues, and then you can take a look at what Alright News have to say about this. I'll be with you guys in a minute.
All right, so the news says Ohanaeze seek apology of 10 trillion naira compensation from Tinubu. Well, I don't think it's supposed to be to Tinubu. It's supposed to be to the federal government. Yes, the Igbo people need apology from the federal government. Because if IBB's book is revealing that waiting we think say na Igbo coup will lead to the Biafra war, will lead to the dying of a lot of Igbos, the starvation of a lot of Igbos, the disastrous impact to their tribe. Do you understand? If at the end of the day, IBB's book is telling us that it's not the Igbo coup, then it's crazy. You understand? The federal government needs to apologize to these people. By now, Seth, to be very honest, normally, the whole country is supposed to be on the streets. They're supposed to do a protest because of this book. They're supposed to do a protest and demand that the federal government apologize to the Igbos. Now, this generational beef don't happen since that coup. There's a generational beef where don't happen since the coup and since Biafra. Some tribes now, they fear. A lot of tribes, they fear because they know say, okay, yes, they fear say, if Igbo man turn president for this country, that's where Ojukwu be won't do. Now the Igbo man go won't do. The Igbo man self go one scatter Nigeria. Do you understand? The Yorubas, from which side they say, because the Yorubas and the Igbo, they always attack themselves for Twitter. The Yorubas go attack Igbos. They go call, the Igbos go attack Yorubas, say they be betrayer, and then betray this thing where make Ojukwu no get Biafra. The Yorubas go talk their own. Do you understand? But again, that thing, that's cool, has dented the names of the Igbos where make some tribes does not want an Igbo man to get power. Usually it's supposed to be outside Igbo Yoruba where go enter power. You understand? They're supposed to share them. You get, but for some reason, it didn't happen. So, I'm also of the opinion that they deserve an apology and they deserve compensation. Not just that, there's supposed to be a march across the whole Nigeria for this revolution. And that IPB book said, they're not even supposed, that book not even supposed to be where people they go by, they read. Although it's good to get the knowledge, but I'm not sure say IPB is supposed to make money from that book. And like I said in my previous post, bro, if the advanced country, that man is supposed to pay for whatever thing he did and all in that June 12th election. And they see for Twitter now, they say, he create a lot of states. He can do that. Do you understand? But, more. Anyways, I follow for the people where they request and they demand apology for the Igbos from the federal government, not from Tinubu. You understand? Because Tinubu no follow for the military regime then. Yes, he didn't no follow. So it's from the federal government. Because after Tinubu, the government still there. So it's from the federal government. It's not Tinubu's government, the federal government, the whole structure of the government. The federal government should apologize to the Igbo. And that 10 trillion, yes, no na carry federal government go court. Your generation suffered because of that coup. Not just your generation, because at the end of the day, not only the Igbos they buy during this thing. My own generation too suffer. The Hausa suffered, the Yoruba suffered because of a lie. A lot of tribes suffered because of that lie. Because of the manipulation, a lot of tribes suffered. No, let me not limit it to the Igbos now. Because of a single lie. And a single narrative. That was an Igbo coup. So yes, they deserve an apology. And yes, all in the favor of a good protest, peaceful protest. So, if you notice the way I talk since I try coin my word way before they come say Very Dark Man is the one that ignited the fire, or is the one that what's it be that their English where they use instigated people to go and protest and scatter life and property. I beg, peaceful, peace and love, don't play.
The Igbo apex group, Ohanaeze and Igbo, on Sunday demanded an apology and 10 trillion naira in compensation from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to be paid to the Igbos following the revelation by former military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida that the 1966 coup was not an Igbo coup as alleged. The revelation was contained in IBB's memoir, A Journey in Service. The group noted that the coup unleashed disastrous repercussions on the Igbo people, among other factors, which ultimately led to the horrors of the Biafra War. Let me take their statement in part. The group wrote, "The Apex Igbo Social Cultural Organization, Ohanaeze and Igbo, extends its profound appreciation to General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida for his remarkable courage in officially declaring that the January 1966 coup was unequivocally not an Igbo coup. This pivotal acknowledgement is not merely a correction of historical nomenclature, but a significant moment in our collective pursuit of justice and reconciliation, signaling a potential end to the historical vindictiveness and cruelty that have been pervasive in federal government policies towards the Igbo nation. His forthright exemption of the Igbo from the egregious classification as enemies of the northern region in the aftermath of the coup is both timely and necessary, even if it arrives decades later. The mislabeling of the 1966 coup has unleashed disastrous repercussions upon the Igbo people, most tragically culminating in the January 1966 counter-coup, which decimated a military head of state of Igbo descent. The staggering loss of life, with approximately 3 million Igbos, predominantly innocent women and children, slaughtered during this conflict, continues to reverberate through our collective consciousness. In light of these egregious injustices and the deliberate neglect exhibited by successive administrations, Ohanaeze and Igbo hereby restates its demands as articulated previously during the Justice Oputa-led Judicial Commission for the Investigation of Human Rights Violation panel in 1999. The present federal government, led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, must recognize this moment as an opportunity to extend a public and unequivocal apology on behalf of previous military regimes. Our demand for 10 trillion naira in reparations remains steadfast. This figure is not arbitrary, but a symbolic recognition of the indelible losses the Igbo people have endured. The time has come for true acknowledgement of these historical wrongs, which can only be rectified through reparations and sincere apologies. I mean, this was a detailed statement, and there's been a lot of reactions since that excerpt of IBB's memoir came out, where he debunked or dismissed the fact that the 1966 coup was an Igbo coup. A quick comment before I take some reactions.
Oji, IBB did not need to write in his book that it was not an Igbo coup before I had known that it was not an Igbo coup. Mm-hmm. For references, I have read, if not my last count, over 10 to 15 books on the war and what happened around that time. One of the most updated one that was not really biased was Centaure's account of the Nigerian Civil War. I've read Philip Evio's account, The Cage Bird Sings. I've read, Frederick Foster. I've read many accounts. It was not an Igbo coup. There was no Igbo coup. The narrative of an Igbo coup was to be able to hang a particular ethnic group in all of that. These were a bunch of idealists that said, the way forward to obliterate this political class, this thieving political, and their problems then was the same thieving political class.
The coup plotters.
Yes. That they became very idealistic. And where did that mindset come from? It came from the elections and the fight that ensued after the second elections, after the 59, I think the 64 elections, where they saw what the political class was doing, where they saw what was happening in the South and other regions of the country. So this bunch of idealists felt that they could save the country, which was a big mistake. Ademoye that wrote the book, Why We Struck, was not an Igbo man. Kaduna Nzego was from Okpanam. Kaduna Nzego was so Hausa. The having boy doctrine was born in the north. His name was Kaduna because he was born in Kaduna. So all of this was part of the sentiment that they used for this war then. And there are many copious accounts. It was just a bunch of idealists. They felt the way to go was the way to clean up the system, but it was wrong. There was no ethnic. The same narrative of ethnic coloration stemmed from what the political class started infusing, so that there was going to be a fight back, coupled with the media. And that's why foreign medias also played a role in this. And they whipped up that sentiment, and it started to snowball into the anarchy.
Right.
In moving forward, we need to heal. We
Absolutely.
need to know that we are all on this table of this hurt and pain, and we should try as much as possible to fix it. And we must be able to do justice. The greatest form of reparation for me is justice.
Yeah.
And we must stop the marginalization against the Igbos. Infrastructure must be built in that land.
All right.
We must allow infrastructure go round. Yes, we have development commission across all regions now. There are statutory transfers to the budget.
Yeah.
We must be able to pump money there. Also, we must bring about federal infrastructural present development. Then we must also stop this talk. An Igbo man cannot be president. Who said so? Who said so? Because you see, these people forget a lot. After the Civil War, one of the paths to reconciliation was a deliberate attempt by the two key political parties to have Philip Omiedi as the running mate of Awolowo, and what's his name now? The number one, Alex Ekweme, the first man to get a PhD in architecture in Nigeria.
All right.
So we need to be able to bring ourselves to this table of recompense and bring the conversation clear on the table that we must fight for a path to peace and stop this Igbophobia and hate against Igbos and all of that. All of us must be one to make this unity work.
All right, so you're up for that, compensation, the 10 trillion. I mean, there's been conversation about, how that amount of money, there should be some sort of wider consultation as to how Ohanaeze arrived at that amount of money. But
for me, due compensation.
You believe in due compensation.
A lot of federal infrastructure in the east and other parts that have been disgruntled in the country. Sustainable ones. That's what I don't know about 10 trillion. All right. But I'm all about justice.
So let me take a comment that followed that story. This is from Justin Collins, who wrote, Ohanaeze and Igbo's demand for an apology and 10 trillion naira in compensation from President Tinubu following IBB's clarification about the 1966 coup underscores the Igbos' deserving recognition of their historical grievances. This call for reparation reflects the ongoing need for acknowledgement of past injustices in the nation. The 1966 coup was never an Igbo coup. It was a narrative instigated by the Hausa, Fulani, and other tribes to deny the Igbos their rightful place in Nigeria's leadership. This misrepresentation has fueled decades of injustice against the Igbo people. And, that sums up the sort of conversation we're hearing from the sides of, whether or not we're going to pay reparation. Well, amidst all the revelations made in IBB's book, a historic video of the late Chief MKO Abiola's appeal to General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida in June 1993, shortly after the annulment of the June 12 presidential election, has resurfaced online. In his address, Abiola urged Babangida to reverse the annulment and return the will of the Nigerian people, emphasizing the need for democracy and justice. Let's take a look.
I must appeal to Babangida. If he really, truly loves Nigeria, he should set Nigeria free. If he becomes a civilian, as the army seems to be telling him to do now, it will make things a lot easier. Because it will be one civilian against the other. A man with a loaded gun, it takes a lot of courage to confront him the way God has had to make me do in the last few days, in the last few weeks. But if he did not want a transition, why order an election
All right, reactions galore. Well, Sadiq Abacha, son of the late military head of state, Sani Abacha, has defended his father following allegations that forces led by his father, who was then Chief of Defense Staff, orchestrated the annulment of June 12, when in a post on Facebook on Saturday, Sadiq praised his father's legacy and expressed confidence that history will ultimately judge him favorably. His post reads, "The man Abacha, you have always been the man they have envied with silent deceit. History shall remember you for being a better leader, no matter how much they try to put you down. As a son, I'm most proud of you today. You indeed are the man they wish they were half of." Well, Sadiq concluded his statement with, a Hausa phrase, which means whoever utters insult at a public market knows who they are intended for. I mean, this was a trending post. Ayo, you're shaking your head. It was a trending post on it. We also saw Gusu Abacha's tweet where she wrote weakling on X, a direct dig at IBB. Ayo, quickly.
All right. I think it's only in a place like Nigeria that would give guts to these children to come out and speak like this. Mm-hmm. And like I said earlier, even though traditionally you don't want to speak bad about your father is the best thing despite what he's done, I would still say that common sense should prevail. And maybe it speaks to the level of education or how enlightened or perhaps the part of truth about their father that they know about. Let's not even begin to speak. They say it's not good to speak ill of the dead.
Yes.
But it's also important to speak the fact and not rewrite history.
Yes.
Maybe the history he's saying will be kind to his father. Maybe after the passage of time, we'll now see a number of Nigerians gather around and give, eulogize his dad and say, let's not remember that his father was responsible for the death of a number of key Nigerians.
Yes.
And that a lot of people do not have their parents alive because of the actions of his father. Let us not glamorize Abacha. Beyond that, they call him the gift that keeps giving. He stole from Nigeria so much that how many years after his death we are still benefiting from the loots that he stole and still finding out more.
Absolutely.
Please, the Abacha family should just keep quiet and enjoy whatever it is they're enjoying and leave Nigerians to just, think of the years or try to forget the evil years of the Abacha days. That's what I would say.
Well said, Ayo. There was a breakdown, 30 cents made over I was trending over the weekend. I mean, I wish we had that to pull up. And they broke down how much money that, Abacha had looted over the years. 30 cents did the Lord's work. And then, still counting. We're still... And what have we done with those monies in any ways? But let me... But Professor Anthony Killer, this memoir has, generated reactions. But you know what? In 2019, President Muhammadu Buhari stated that he would not write a book expressing concerns, that doing so might lead him to criticize certain individuals, which he wished to avoid to prevent causing harm to their families. Let's take a look.
Some people said I should write a book. I don't think I will ever write a book. Mainly, I don't want to hurt anybody. Hurting in the sense that there are certain people that I cannot resist abusing. But that hasn't got anything to do with their children and their grandchildren. So I don't want to hurt their children and grandchildren. So for the sake of their children and grandchildren, I have left them.
I mean, history, we need that. I don't know why Buhari is saying he won't write a book. Ogasa, we need a book from you. Go ahead.
You need a book from me.
Yes. I mean, I don't know about this story. I think depends on the kind of... Go ahead. What did you... Prof said what?
Prof, when you say you need a book of Prof, that way.
Yes. He wants to tell me. Go ahead.
Well, I think Buhari can be accused of many things.
Yes.
He can be imagined as many things, but not an intellectual. Not as a writer.
They are ghost writers, Professor Killer.
You need even to tell a story for they can ghost write your thing. I mean, it requires some kind of mental and deep commitment to do certain things. Of course.
And this were those that supported Buhari in 2015.
Oh, you did?
Yes, so these were people that carried Buhari for 2015.
Okay, go ahead.
So they are talking for the sources.
Killed it.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Prof.
Go ahead, please.
So I think let's leave President Buhari to do whatever he wants to do. If he writes a book, he does us a favor. If he doesn't write one,
a huge favor.
He does a bigger one by not writing it. Yeah, so let's leave it to whatever he wants to.
What did I say about Professor Killer? Always killing it. Well, I wish we had more time on this segment.
Truth be told, this is not yet end or over for him to be arrested or put to jail. That Babangida. But then the main issue now is that he cannot go to jail. Ask me why. It's because he is among those that owns Nigeria. In a country like Nigeria where Yaya Bello have not even gone to prison for stealing 82 billion naira from Kogi State as the ex-governor of Kogi State. In a country where people that are meant to be in prison are not in prison, so you want to imprison the people that owns Nigeria is not possible. For my own, I don't think he can be arrested, and the government will not even do anything that warrants his arrest. The government will not even try to arrest him, because tell me the reason why the people that are meant to be arrested are not arrested, and then those that are not meant to be arrested are arrested. Go to the prison, you see people that are not even guilty of anything, but because the government wants them there, and they are there. So I don't think anything can be done to Babangida. Mark my word, nothing will be done to that man. Nothing. Is it Buhari that will arrest him? Is it anybody that will arrest him? Imagine Babangida that even annulled a result in 1993 and said that Abiola did not win the election, and he came out to apologize and said that he regretted his action, that Abiola won the election and did this and that. Lies upon lies upon lies. That is the only thing that these people have given us. And like I said, mark my word, nothing will still happen to Babangida. Babangida will still be alive until when God calls it. Because this is Nigeria where we are, and I think we start facing the truth. Better for us. Let's face the truth. Babangida, nothing will happen to him. But I'd like you guys to hear your own views in the comment section. I'll the video is watched now, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned, guys.